Senator Shaheen.
Thank you, Senator Schumer. I'm pleased to join my colleagues and to support the sentiments that they have already echoed, particularly framing it the way Senator Cardin just did. This supplemental bill is about whether we're going to be on the side of the civilized world or on the side of those terrorist organizations, those autocratic dictators who represent depravity. In its entirety, this package would bolster our own national security in so many ways. As Ukrainians and Israelis fight against terror and destruction, it's important that the United States continues to step up and support them. Last year, I met with a group of Ukrainian women soldiers, and one of the things they said to me has stuck with me. They said, "Give us the weapons so that we can fight the Russians so that you don't have to." Well, this morning I met with one of those women again, a soldier named Adriana. She was critically injured last year because she was in a civilian vehicle and Ukraine doesn't have enough armored cars to protect themselves from Russian attacks. The vehicle she was in was hit by a Russian mine. She was traumatically injured, spent 9 months in the hospital. She had to learn to walk again. She walked into my office today. And what she told me is that she intends to return to the fight. She's going back to her unit. And we talked about why. And she said, because Ukraine is fighting for its life. In fact, we joked about the fact that Ukraine's motto is very much like New Hampshire's motto. You know, I'm from the live free or die state. Well, Ukraine's motto is freedom or death. And she said, we're in a fight right now for freedom, and we're willing to die for that freedom. As President Zelensky said when he was here, he said, the United States is giving money and weapons, and we are giving lives. If we let the destructive authoritarian leaders like Putin dictate the future of sovereign countries, if we let terrorist organizations like Hamas determine what we're going to do in the free world, we are going to all lose that battle. That's why I strongly support continued assistance to Ukraine. And make no mistake, our adversaries, whether it's China or Iran, are watching how we respond to the war in Ukraine. They are watching what we do in the Middle East with Israel. It's why this request for the supplemental includes support for Taiwan in the face of the aggression of the PRC. Our enduring support for Ukraine sends a strong message to other dictators that the United States is going to stand on the side of democracy. And there is a nexus between what's happening in Ukraine and what's happening in Israel. If we're concerned about Iran, we need to support Ukraine and Israel and the supplemental, because there have been reports that Iran, which already supplies Russia with lethal drones that they're using in Ukraine, is also backing Hamas, as we all know, in their brutal campaign of terror. So I know that my colleagues have talked at great length about the steadfast support for Israel, and I would just echo their sentiments entirely. Last, I want to raise one issue that's also part of this supplemental that's about our own security, and that's what's happening at the border. The President's request would add 1,300 Border Patrol agents, 375 immigration judge teams, and 1,600 asylum officers. It would fund over 100 cutting-edge inspection machines to help detect fentanyl. And for those of us who live in states that are still being dramatically affected by the opioid epidemic and by fentanyl, that is an investment that is absolutely critical to try and get the fentanyl epidemic under control. So the world is watching what we're doing. I hope that as a Congress we're going to step up in a bipartisan way and pass this supplemental and show the world that we are on the side of fighting oppression, of fighting dictators, of fighting terrorist organizations. Thank you.